Tomorrow I will go over to Central Dome and turn in my report to Major Finnan on the blaster cap incident, said Kenom. What do you think they will do with the flectoid Zelton? Asked Enew. I don't know, but I'm sure they will have something to say about it. I wouldn't want to be in Zelton's shoes, said Enew. He turned his compound upside down with just a small blaster cap. If Central Headquarters on Zimmnel was to hear about this, some heads would roll, that's for sure. You can bet on that, Kenom, said Kenom. Worse still, if the Flextons found out how ill prepared this compound is to fight off a Flexton attack, it would turn into a real incident. They could hardly justify the large amount of money they spend up here if they knew this place was more like a party platform than a war compound. Next morning, Kenom and Enew were at Major Finnan's office early. They had left with plenty of time, expecting a tunnel delay, but to their surprise there was none. Major Finnan greeted them warmly. Come in, he said. We've been hearing some good things about you, Kenom. It seems that you've been using your special patrol status with great success. Our message transfer machine has been flooded with messages from the Fleckmasters all over the compound. It seems as though the Vertons have been repairing the tunnels with great effectiveness. Everyone is pleased. They say the Vertons are even smartly dressed these days, which is a real surprise. Thank you, sir, said Kenom, but I had little to do with it. You can thank Master Lector and Dome 7 if things have changed for the better. Well, I will certainly see that he is commended at your request, Patrolman Kenom. I know he will be pleased, said Kenom. Now, what news do you have on the blaster cap incident? Asked Finland. Well, sir, replied Kenom, I have a full report here for you. Kenom handed the Major his report. In brief, a certain maintenance man assigned to Dome 5 got a little zealous in his religious convictions. He climbed up on the catwalk and dropped the blaster cap on the Religidome. I suppose he was making a religious statement of sorts. At any rate, he confessed and is now in the confinement center awaiting Central Dome's decision on what to do with him. I see, said Finland. We can't have this sort of disrupting our combat alertness here on the compound. We must remain at a high level of effectiveness at all times. The Flexton War Council on Flexton expects nothing less. I'm sure you're right, Major, said Kenom. I hate to trouble Commander Finloy with this. He's occupied with more important matters. Perhaps you would be kind enough to see that the proper punishment is rendered on this patrolman responsible for this incident. Maybe you can just have him returned to Flexton. After all, no real damage was done. And are there no precedents for this kind of crime? Asked Kenom. I'm afraid not, said Finland. We have very little trouble here. Most patrolmen, Flexton and Zimmnellians, consider this privileged duty, so they mind themselves. I was afraid something like this was going to happen, though, once we let the Plutons rent space here. Trouble always follows religion. Well, I don't know, sir, said Kenom. I would prefer not to be judge of what punishment should fit the crime. I may not be able to make the proper decision, as I am new here and not sensitive to your ways. Nonsense, said Major Finnan. You have shown yourself to be quite capable of making good and proper decisions. Command Headquarters will abide by whatever you decide. Very well then, said Kenom. I will do what I think best. I know you will make the right decision, Patrolman Kenom. I hope so, sir, was Kenom's reply. I hope so. Of course, Major Finland knew that Commander Finloy would prefer Kenom take the blame if there was any repercussions as a result of this incident. After all, they were career patrolmen with a pension to look out for. Judge, jury, and executioner, said Enew as they left the Major's office. I had better watch my step with all the power you're accumulating. I didn't ask for this, said Kenom. Enew laughed. Don't worry, I won't let it go to your head. I'm sure you won't, said Kenom. Now I just have to be sure I don't let it go to my head. You've shown a lot more good judgment and restraint than any man I've ever met, said Enew. I know you will be all right. Let's hope so, said Kenom. Kenom decided to ponder the question for a while. He thought that a few days in confinement would be good for Zelton. He could contemplate his fate and Kenom was sure that whatever Zelton believed his fate to be would be much greater than it would probably be in reality. I think I'd better go down and tell Priest Leader Scott that we caught the man responsible for the explosion and to get his opinion on the matter. Okay, said Enew. I'm going back to the mini-dome to shut down for a while. I'll catch up with you later. Fine, said Kenom. I'll be along shortly.